Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial of Tekkit. Today I will be going over what I call my big machine of solar happiness. And apparently solar lagginess. What it is 3 entire floors of complete insanity. With one purpose and one purpose only. To automatically produce Industrial Crafts solar panels. As you can see, I have a lot going on. This floor is just over there, makes circuits. Here is the final combination where it actually combines everything and makes the solar panels, and then sends them on up to my little holding cell, and this is what I'm going to attempt to explain. It'll probably take several episodes. First one I'm going to do is the circuits, explaining how to output just simple circuits. And these are relatively easy because everything adds up and you learn the basics of what needs to be done to make the rest. So I will be switching over to a single player world. This is the public server that I run on, and if you can't tell, it's kinda laggy because so much is going on all at once right now. And I should probably turn this off before anybody else comes in. So I will pop over to a single player world and start from scratch and show you how to build it. Here we are in a nice, clean, flat world. I have the time set to exclusively be day. I have the weather turned off. I have mobs turned off. That way it's just nice and clean and we can focus on working and we don't have to keep looking over our shoulders in case the skeleton wants to shoot us in the back. Now I have pretty much all of the stuff we need already put into this chest. Fairly sure it's all we need. If we need more, we can always just grab it. We have the sticky resin and the copper ingots, which create the copper wire. We have the iron ingot to make the refined iron. We have the redstone, a lever to turn everything on, red alloy wire to connect everything, redstone engines to power everything, redstone torches to power the golden transport pipes, so we can send everything on its way faster. We have the iron transport pipes, which send everything off in one direction and one direction only. That way you can have 2 inputs but 1 output. Stone transport pipes and cobblestone transport pipes do exactly what they say. They just transport nothing else. The advantage of having both of them is that they don't connect to each other. That way you can have 2 pipes running side by side that don't connect. Then we have the wooden transport pipes, which pull things out of their chests. This is a collector Mark III. It's used to power the energy condensers, which is used to replicate all of these items. The RM furnace, used to take the iron ingot and make it into refined iron. This is also powered by the collectors. We have chests to store everything, and I use the diamond chest just for the sheer size. The automatic crafting tables, which the diamond chests just sit beside, and the crafting table will pull things out of, combine it the way we want it, and then spit it out thanks to the wooden transport pipes. We have stone bricks, just because we always need blocks to build stuff on top of, and this is actually how I'm going to run the red alloy wire. I create a ceiling completely covered in red alloy wire, so that I could just put the engines wherever I need them to be, and I don't have to worry about, oh, the wire goes here, or does it go there, or I don't know, I'd have to see the bottom. It just saves a lot of trouble. And as an added bonus, if you take a black hole band and put it in an alchemy chest, it will suck in all the nearby items. That way you don't have to worry about overflow too much, and you don't have to worry about lagging out and killing servers. Now, for a note on the automatic crafting tables, there are 2 different types. There's this one, the automatic crafting table, and the Mark II. I would recommend avoiding using the Mark IIs. They're a little glitchy and they're hard to control. There are advantages to the Mark IIs as they have their own storage, but because you can put chests right beside the Mark Is, I just find them easier. Alright, so where do we start? Well, first thing we do is we find the solar panels in our too many items here, and we look at how they're built. Now we're focusing on the electronic circuits today, so how are they built? Well, we got 6 copper cables, 2 redstone, and a refined iron. Now here's the important part. For making these properly and making them quickly, for every 1 refined iron, you have to output 2 redstone and 6 copper cables. Now that can be a little bit complex, but because copper cables output as 6 when you make them this way, it's a lot easier. So basically we have to output 3 rubber at a time, or 6 rubber at a time, and output 3 copper. Now the way I do it, I have 2 different outputs for rubber. One that's outputting 3 rubber and one that's outputting 3 more. So basically I just have rubber duplicated twice. So let's start there. Let's start with the rubber. We will need the collectors, the condensers, the RM furnace to turn the sticky resin into rubber. We will need the wooden pipes to pull everything out, the transport pipes to send them, and the iron transport pipes just because, I'll show you here in a second, redstone engines, red alloy. Well, let's start there. Let's build a base to sit everything on top of. And I will cut here just to make life easier for you guys while I build this. And here we are. Just looks like a ceiling, but on top of it is completely covered in red alloy wire. That way, when we turn it on, it all lights up and every single one of these blocks is electrified. That way we can put the engines anywhere and they will be active and running. So I don't have to worry, oh, is this one powered or is this one powered? All of them are. So I never have to worry about it. So let's get started on actually building. So the first thing we need to do is set it up so we can duplicate the rubber. Rubber is relatively easy to duplicate if we watch the condenser. It runs relatively quickly, but that's not going to be quick enough. Because when we use rubber a lot of it. I mean, we're pulling 3 at once from this one chest. So we got to do at least 1 more. And a little added, we got to use glowstone on top of them, the ones that we can anyways. That will increase the efficiency. Now we see how fast we're going. This should be fast enough. If not, we could add a relay and then add 3 more without interfering. But I can show you that later. Now, from here, one thing we got to make sure is that this side, and this side are all underneath one of the electrified blocks. Because we got to put a wooden one there, wooden one there, and a wooden one there. This is where the redstone engines come in. They go on top of the wooden. And apparently I left that active. Let's turn that off. And we can see how that's pushing them all out. Now that's exactly what we want. Now a bit of an annoyance. The iron transport pipes are a little complicated. You can use a wrench, a Buildcraft wrench, to change which direction they go in. But I find it just easier to basically start from the outside and work your way backwards. So say this is where everything's going to coalesce. So all 3 of the rubber is going to come out here and coalesce into here. So let's get rid of these. Whoops. We'll put iron there, iron there, iron there, iron there, iron there, and then put the wooden back, and then put the engine back before I forget. And then we can see from here, the rubber will come in here, go out here. It can't go that way because it's blocked up. It can only go through the clear side. So it will come out here, and again, can only go through the clear side, go out here, and then go out here. Now, from here, we got to cook it. Now, we can't just throw down the redstone furnace here, because then, as the rubber comes in, it could go here, it could go here. We're not 100% sure. So the easiest way to do that is to make sure that the pipes go in through the top. So we'll do that one more over. We'll put down a relay so we have power. Oh, a collector so we have power. Put the redstone, or the red matter furnace on top of it. And then we'll put pipes that go into the top. That way everything goes out and then up. Okay. Now, because we have 3 going in to 1, and the entire purpose is to get 3 total rubber, we will also need to have 3 outputs on the redstone furnace. Now, we don't want to put it there because it'll just connect there, and that'll just be annoying. So we got to put them here, here, and here. Now, once again, since we're going to combine them all just like this, we'll do the neat trick where we work backwards. And then that way I don't have to fiddle around with the wrenches and worrying about them resetting themselves like I've noticed they do. I think that was just a problem with running redstone current anywhere near them, because if these are touching the ceiling when you electrify them, the path changes. And we don't want that. We just want it exactly as it is. So we keep those away from redstone current, and we'll just work backwards just so we can avoid confusion. Alright, so then, from this point, we need engines. Engine, engine, engine. And this is actually a pretty good example of why I just create this giant block of electrified blocks. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to build things. I just throw everything there and I'm done. Now, as we can see, we're outputting 3 here. They're going into the burn side of the red matter furnace. And then we're outputting 3. And then we got to put it in a chest. So again, I'm just using the diamond chest just for their sheer size. So that way, if we have any overflow during our initial testing, this just fills up and we don't really have to worry about it. Okay, so now we have some of the rubber we need. We still need more rubber. So we have to do that all over again. And I'm just going to do it over here just to make life easy. And I'll just snap to it so you guys don't have to watch me do that all over again. And there we have it. We have a duplication on either side. Now, I just ever so slightly underestimated just how big this thing is. So I had to cheat a little. I just changed this part right here so it just goes up instead of going out and then up. That way I have enough space. Now, from here, if I turn on that, all of the engines fire on at once, which is perfect because having them synced is really, really great. Then it fires out 3 at a time, and everything very, very slowly goes into the red matter furnace. And don't worry that nothing's coming out of here just yet. As we test everything, we'll have buffers build up. Buffers in the red matter furnace, buffers in the chests. So everything will work pretty smoothly at one point or another. Now we can see the rubber is coming out here. It's getting a little confused because of this wooden pipe is connected both here, here, and here, but everything will eventually come out here, so it's not a big problem. Oh, and as we can see, we did something wrong. Nothing's coming out here, and that is because I forgot to arm it. And this is why we test everything. Conveniently enough, we can get one here, or 4 as the case may be, and just throw them in there, and there we go. And then it will output, and it will do the same thing. And then everything will come in here, and then we'll get plenty of rubber. So let's let this create its own little buffer. We can see just how fast this goes. This will work perfectly for us when these engines are running at full speed. So let's shut that down. That should be enough of a buffer. And it takes a little while for everything to catch up, and this is why we'll get a little buffer going after a while. See how they just start adding up eventually? So it won't be a problem later on in our testing, in our works. Now, next step we need to do is create the actual wires. So what we're going to need copper. And since we need 6 rubber and 3 copper, that means we basically need to create the same thing here, but instead of rubber, we need copper. So let's start over here, just so we have enough space. And then just as a little test, we'll start here. And I need my glowstone. Now, a little note. After a while, it could get confusing to move around in these things. As you can see, I have to go around all of this now, because this is quite literally taking up all of the space. The easy way to get around that is actually to dig under. And I do that a lot. I'll just dig under the pipes and I don't have to worry about it. Or after the entire thing gets built, I will rip out parts of the ceiling so I can go over. So either way works. Oh, but we also need our copper ingot as well. Let's get our copper ingot. Put the glowstone on top. Copper ingot in here. And we see that it is really slow. That might give us enough when the redstone engines are running at their slowest, but it will not when they're running at full power. So we need to add space. Of course, we need 3 outputs, so we can't use those blocks. Because of how the relay works, or the collector works, we can't put blocks there. So we have to improvise. Easiest way to improvise is to use a relay. That's these things here. Now we'll put a relay here. Put a collector here. Here. One underneath. That way we have 3 of them going into one condenser. And we'll put the glowstone there, the glowstone there. We don't have to worry about there because that acts as glowstone. And we see it's traveling much, much faster now. Which I'm not 100% sure if that's fast enough. I don't remember how many exactly I needed. But we'll just test as we go. Alright. So then we just basically do the same thing. Oh, and there I did that wrong. There we go. Alright, and then 3 engines. Now, what we can see here, we can see that if I continue this pipe and then just connect it here, that'll give us problems because then we can't really output anything. So let us take this rubber out, pop that. We'll pop these two. And we'll put it basically an output pipe. And then everything will come in here and then go off this way. And then I have to get another chest. And we'll get rid of the relay for now. And then we'll put the chest here, where the two combined. Alrighty, and then that gives us our copper and all the rubber we need. And then we can move on to the next step. Let's just check it, make absolutely sure. Oh, and let's put the rubber back in there. So we got the rubber outputting like it should, 3 by 3. Then we got the copper outputting as it should, 3 by 3. So we have 6 total rubber coming this way. We got 3 total copper coming this way. And I admit this is all kind of slow. This is where the gold pipes can come in. You could put a gold pipe here, make everything just shoot down this pipe. Same here, make it all shoot out. And there we go. We got our first 3 copper ingots. Alright, and then the next step. We get to use the automatic crafting tables now. Now all we have to do is just put an automatic crafting table right beside the chest we're using for storage. And this is another reason why I use a buffer. That way I can just grab from here the parts that I need. And then we just make it in here. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Now, automatic crafting tables will not actually output anything unless you put power to it. So you actually have to give it wooden pipes, engines, and then a chest to put everything into. And I'm going to move this a little farther out. There we go. Now this is the chest that everything's going to end up in. All our redstone, our refined iron ingots, and what will be our copper cables. So the next thing we got to do, let's do the refined iron, because refined iron is relatively easy since it's just one input, one output, nothing special. So we want it here, there. We don't have to do much in the way of collectors. Once again, missing my glowstone. Now that I actually have everything, we don't need much in the way of collectors, though we will probably need more than that. That's not going to be enough, so we're going to need to do the relay trick again, like that. But the convenient part about this is we can put collectors on all sides of the relay. And this is what we end up with. And that's still not quite fast enough. I don't trust it. Okay, that should be fast enough. Now I have relays back in the back, I have a relay up top, and now we're moving a pretty good click. And that's perfectly fine that we have all of these around it, because all we need is right there. And none of these are going to interfere with just that one block. But from here, what we need to do, we need to go up, because we need to do the red matter furnace trick again. So then we got the iron going into the red matter furnace, and then we'll be just directly outputted into this chest. So let's fire it up, and let's make sure that this side of it works. And we can actually see that the copper cable is actually working. So we got the iron heading its way. And then we got refined iron being outputted from the red matter furnace. And this way works pretty good. We can get a pretty consistent 1-to-1 out. So now we're getting 6 copper cable for every 1 refined iron. You can see everything just having all kinds of fun. Now, we still need one more component, and that is the redstone. Now, after all of this, the redstone should be relatively easy. All we have to do is just get the redstone to collect fast enough. Just use a relay, and I'm just not even going to screw around. I'm just going to go ape with the relays and be done with it. But quick-eyed people will notice I have a problem. I need 2. So we can't have relays everywhere. That's closed up. Okay, that's blazing along. That's more than enough. So we also have to connect the redstone. So we will need our iron transport pipes once again. But we just need the 2. So this will work just fine. And then basically what we'll do is we'll just connect those there. So now we should have 2 redstone coming out of there, 3 rubber coming out of there, 3 more rubber coming out of there, the refined iron coming from here, and the copper coming from here. So, theoretically, once I turn this on, everything should be outputting exactly what we need. And there we go. We can see the 2 redstone coming our way. And we'll give it a moment so that we can create basically a buffer of redstone. Some extra redstone in here. I know we'll end up with extra stuff because of all this testing we're doing, but that's okay. It's good to have extras just in case. Plus, if you need extra copper cable, you know where it is. And we can see how when it's putting in 2 at a time. So now we got 6 copper cable, 2 redstone, 1 refined iron. And that's exactly what we need. So all we have to do now is put it all together. And from there, all we need is the automatic crafting table, beside the chest with all the parts we need. 6 of those, 2 of those, 1 of those. To make the electric circuit. And then same thing as the other crafting table. We need an output. And I don't have a chest. Okay. An extra chest and an engine. And now when we turn everything on, we should have a continuous stream of electric circuits. And there we have it. We could already see the first one coming down the line. Now, once everything catches up, we will actually see all of these numbers drop and then come back, and then drop again and then come back. They should always be between 2 numbers. You can see that went to 19 and then back down to 18. 19, 18. So we got 52, 58, 52. So jump of 6, which is exactly what we would expect. And then the redstone. Something's wrong with the redstone. We can see something's wrong with the redstone as it's... There we go. It seems to have balanced out. 10, 8, 10, 11, 9. So it just seems that it's a little goofy because of how this is all put together. Because sometimes the redstone from this pipe goes that way, sometimes it goes this way and has to go around. So sometimes it takes a little while. But after a while, we'll be able to see that they pretty much stay the same. Now those numbers will fluctuate a little bit more as the engines speed up. So let's just let it sit and watch the engines do their thing. And there we have it. We now have our machine running at full power. And as we can see from the fast forward there, it took a long time for redstone engines to speed up. Now I'm sure you could make this all out of steam engines or combustion engines, but they don't really provide an advantage. Like I know steam engine and combustion engines can pull multiple items at a time, and that may work from here, but it won't work from here. If you have a combustion engine attached to an automatic crafting table, it will still only pull 1 at a time. And then you have to worry about keeping it fueled and keeping it cool. It's just far more hassle than it's worth. Now, a note. See how it's blinking red? That's how you know a redstone engine is full power. Steam engines and combustion engines, if they're red, they're about to explode, turn them off. And from here we can check and see how everything's going, if we're producing enough. And we can see this is going right back to 64. So we know we're producing enough redstone there. And we can see we're just producing enough sticky resin here. It's getting up to 64 just in time to go away. Let's go over and check the copper. Oh, and we can see we're not producing enough copper. So we'll have to tweak this a little bit figure out a way to shove more of these things on there. The last one, the iron. Yeah, not a problem. We're actually gaining iron here. So it's just the copper we have to look at. And there are a few things we can do. Okay, there we have it. I have a relay up top, in the back, and on the bottom. I also have a collector underneath there, and up there. And that seems to produce enough EMC that we're actually gaining copper. So at full power, we have just tweaked this, and now this is a completely self-sufficient system. Now everything works, and we don't have to worry about it. And we can see we almost have 2 rows of stacks of electronic circuits. Now, why do I build it this way? Why are there 2 wooden pipes here instead of just one with, say, 2 engines attached to just the one? Wouldn't that make it easier? Wouldn't that make the finagling I did over there with the copper a whole crap ton easier because I'd only have to worry about one output? Well, these 2 will actually show you the reason. While this was warming up, the one engine was running slower than the other, but the second they got to full power, they synced. All of the engines are now synced, even though for the longest time this one was not. And when the engines are synced, it doesn't matter how many you have attached to one wooden pipe, it will only push out one item at a time. So if I had 2 engines on that one wooden pipe, even if I had them delayed, the second we got to full power, we'd only be pulling half of what we need. So we have to do it this way. We have to spread them out like this. So basically then what's the next step? Well, let's take a look at a solar panel. We can see that we have 2 electronic circuits, 1 generator, 3 glass, and 3 coal dust. Now as we learned making this, for every 1 item, we need 2 others, or 3 others. So for every 1 generator we have, we need 2 circuits, and 3 glass, and 3 coal dust. Now how we have it set up right now, we will be outputting 1 electronic circuit per pump, and we'll also be outputting 1 generator per pump, which I'll cover building that in a later episode. So basically what we have to do is we have to rebuild this monstrosity that we just created again. So we have 2 coming into the same chest at once. And then we just need generators coming in, and then 3 glass and 3 coal dust. Now the glass is simple. It's pretty much exactly like the resin over there, except there's nothing in between. It's just you put the glass in there, you output 3 at once. Coal dust is a little bit more complicated. You output 3 of them, it goes into a macerator, properly upgraded and properly powered, which again, that'll be a later episode, I go over all this, and then 3 out into a chest. The generator is a little bit more complex because of the RE battery, but again, I'll go over that in a later episode. As for now, enjoy your circuit generator. And hopefully I've actually explained this well enough that you can take what you learned here, go off and make the rest of this by yourself. I really hope I taught it that well. But I shall see you guys in the next episode. So long.